Oh, friend, let me tell you. Remember that annoying little pain in my shoulder that I kept complaining about? At first, it was just a discomfort, like when you sleep in a wrong way and wake up feeling kind of stiff. I would ignore it, put on some Vic Vapor Rub, stretch my arm, and think, it will be gone by tomorrow. But I don't know. It seemed like tomorrow never came. It started to radiate to my neck, go down my back. It became a knot that wouldn't untie for anything. I tried to convince myself that it was work stress, bad posture at the computer, some trivial thing. After all, who hasn't felt a little pain, right? I brushed it off, took a mild painkiller, and carried on with my day. Until, one day, I reached for a glass on a shelf and felt such a sharp twinge that I almost dropped everything on the floor. The pain paralyzed me. I stood there, stiff, with my arm throbbing. At that moment, it hit me. That wasn't normal. I needed to see a doctor. It was my body screaming, and me, finally, deciding to listen. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily, and until not long ago, I was a normal person, just like anyone else. I worked, hung out with friends, traveled, took care of the house. I led a busy but happy life. Life played a trick on me, something unexpected, which forced me to stop and rethink everything. Today, at 36, I live with fibromyalgia, a condition that has changed my routine and my perspective on the world. I decided to share my story because I believe that my experience can help other people. I know there are many Emilys out there, suffering in silence, feeling pains that no one sees, and that often they themselves don't even understand. I want to alert them about the importance of listening to their bodies, not ignoring the signs, and seeking medical help as soon as possible. I confess that at first I neglected the symptoms. I thought it was fatigue, stress, lack of sleep. You know how it is. We always have a ready-made excuse to justify what we don't want to face. But that neglect had a high price. If I had seen the doctor earlier, maybe my situation wouldn't have worsened so much. Therefore, I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. If you feel any persistent pain, any discomfort that doesn't go away, don't hesitate to seek a specialist. Don't be afraid of seeming like a hypochondriac or being labeled as exaggerated. Your health is the most precious asset you have. Transforming my pain into awareness is the way I found to give new meaning to all of this. At the beginning, it was all very subtle. A little pain here, some tiredness there, nothing that prevented me from living my life. I worked in an advertising agency, a super dynamic environment with tight deadlines and a lot of pressure. We were always rushing against time, sleeping little and eating poorly, so it was easy to justify my excessive fatigue. I thought, it's the work pace, it will pass soon. I need to take a vacation. I attributed the pains to bad posture at the computer. I would sit for hours without stretching, without taking breaks. Life of modern times, right? When the pain got stronger, I resorted to self-medication. Ibuprofen was my best friend. It solved quickly, at least for a few hours. Then the pain would return stronger. Then I increased the dose without consulting a doctor. I knew it wasn't ideal, but convenience outweighed. It was easier to take a pill than to schedule an appointment, face lines, and wait for the diagnosis. Besides ibuprofen, I also used ointments to relax the muscles. They relieved some tension, but didn't solve the underlying problem. It was like putting a Band-Aid on a deep wound. The truth is that I neglected my health. I thought I was invincible. I could handle everything. Work, home, friends, family. I wanted to embrace the world, but forgot to take care of myself. Lack of time was my main excuse. There was always something more urgent to do, a meeting to attend, a report to deliver. My health was always put on the back burner. I convinced myself that the pains were temporary, that they would soon go away, but they intensified, spreading throughout my whole body. Stress was also a major aggravating factor. Work pressure, financial concerns, family problems, all of these contributed to increasing my muscle tension and intensifying the pain. I tried to relax, do activities that brought me joy, but the pain was always there as a constant reminder that something was wrong. I started to isolate myself, avoid social gatherings because I couldn't bear the pain and fatigue. People called me lazy, said I was feeling down. No one understood what I was going through. And I, more and more, felt lonely and misunderstood. My hectic routine and lack of time prevented me from prioritizing my health, and this neglect came at a high cost. The climb was slow, insidious. It started with a discomfort, a twinge here and there. I ignored it, thinking it was tiredness, bad posture at work. But the pains became more intense, spreading throughout the body. The shoulder, once only sore, now radiated to the neck, the back, the arm. Then the pain migrated to the legs, the knees, the feet. It was as if my body was on fire, every muscle, every joint screaming for relief. Work became a torment. Sitting in front of the computer for hours was torture. The back pain prevented me from concentrating. The tiredness left me exhausted. I needed constant breaks to stretch my body, to take painkillers to endure the day. But even so, performance dropped drastically. I started to miss work frequently, making up flimsy excuses to justify the absences. I was afraid of losing my job, but the pain was unbearable. Relationships were also affected. The pains made me irritable, impatient. I had no more energy to go out with friends, to go to the movies, to the restaurant. I preferred to stay at home, lying on the couch, trying to relieve the pain. I became a recluse, distant person. My friends didn't understand what was happening. They thought I was depressed, uninterested. They tried to cheer me up, to convince me to go out, but I had no strength. I ended up distancing myself from everyone, afraid of being a burden to them. Leisure activities, which used to give me so much pleasure, became impossible. Walking in the park, dancing, swimming, everything caused me pain. Even simple tasks like cooking, doing the dishes, tidying up the house became a challenge. I felt trapped in a body that didn't obey me, unable to do the things that I used to do with such ease. The difficulty sleeping was another torment. The pain prevented me from relaxing, from finding a comfortable position. I spent nights tossing and turning in bed, unable to sleep. I woke up exhausted, feeling like I hadn't slept at all. The lack of sleep only worsened the pain and fatigue. There were moments of pure despair, of feeling powerless, frustrated, angry at my body. I asked myself why this was happening to me, what I had done to deserve so much pain. I cried in secret, afraid that people would notice my suffering. I tried to hide the situation from my parents, my friends, my coworkers. I didn't want to worry them. I didn't want to be seen as weak, sick. But at the same time, I felt increasingly alone, isolated in my pain. It was as if I was living in a parallel world where pain was the only reality. The feeling of losing control of my life was terrifying. Gradually, joy and vitality were being replaced by sadness and despair. I felt my body failing, betraying me every day. The turning point came on a particularly difficult morning. I woke up with such excruciating pain that I could barely move. Every movement was torture, as if needles were piercing my muscles. I tried to get out of bed, but my legs trembled and I staggered, almost falling to the floor. There, in that moment of complete exhaustion and pain, it finally hit me. I needed help. I could no longer ignore, pretend everything was okay. That was my body's final cry for help, a desperate plea. I made an appointment with a general practitioner, the first available doctor. I explained my symptoms in detail, describing every ache, every discomfort. He examined me thoroughly, palpating my muscles, testing my reflexes. I noticed the concern in his eyes, the seriousness with which he listened to my complaints. At the end of the appointment, he referred me to a rheumatologist, a specialist in joint and muscle diseases. The wait for the specialist appointment felt like an eternity. Each day, the pain intensified, fatigue consumed me. I searched the internet for information about my symptoms, but only found confusing and alarming data. I started to fantasize about the worst diseases, about incurable diagnoses. Fear paralyzed me. Anxiety gnawed at me from within. Finally, the day of the appointment arrived. The rheumatologist was attentive and patient. He asked detailed questions about my medical history, lifestyle, complaints. He conducted a thorough physical examination, pressing specific points on my body to assess sensitivity. He requested a battery of tests: blood work, urine tests, x-rays, MRI. The wait for the results was even more distressing. Each day I felt more fragile, more vulnerable. Uncertainty consumed me. Hope dwindled. The day of the diagnosis arrived like a bomb. "You have fibromyalgia," said the doctor, in a calm and serene tone of voice. In that moment, the words seemed to make no sense. Fibromyalgia? What was that? I had never heard of it. I felt a shock, a disbelief. It was as if I were in a nightmare, waiting to wake up at any moment. The doctor explained that fibromyalgia is a chronic syndrome that causes widespread pain, fatigue, sleep disturbances, and other symptoms. There is no cure, but it can be managed with medication, physiotherapy, and other therapies. The doctor's words echoed in my mind, but I couldn't process them. I felt a mixture of relief for having a diagnosis and despair for knowing that I would have to live with this disease for the rest of my life. The world crumbled around me. The future, once so promising, now seemed uncertain and gloomy. The image of the healthy, active, and independent Emily that I once was shattered into 1,000 pieces. In that moment, I felt completely alone and lost. The first reaction was to deny the diagnosis. It can't be, I thought. There must be some mistake. I am strong. I will overcome this. But deep down, I knew that the pain was real, that the fatigue was constant. Little by little, it began to sink in. Fibromyalgia was a reality, a part of me. I needed to learn to deal with it, to live with the pain, to accept my limitations. Doubts and questions arose in an avalanche. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? What would my life be like from now on? Would I be able to work, take care of my home, maintain my relationships? Would I have to take medication forever? Would the pain never go away? I needed answers, information, support. I began to research about fibromyalgia, to read stories of other people suffering from the same disease. I discovered that I was not alone, that there were thousands of Emilys out there fighting against pain and prejudice. Gradually, I found the strength to face the new reality. The search for support became crucial. I talked to my parents, my friends, my therapist. I joined online support groups where I could share my experiences, clarify my doubts, and feel embraced. I found that fibromyalgia was not the end of the world, but rather a new beginning, an opportunity to reinvent myself and to value the little things in life. The beginning of the treatment was like navigating through murky waters. The rheumatologist prescribed me a combination of medications, painkillers to alleviate the pain, antidepressants to control anxiety and improve sleep, and muscle relaxants to relieve tension. At first, I felt a slight relief. The pains lessened a bit, I managed to sleep a few consecutive hours, and my mood improved. But the joy was short-lived. Soon the side effects began to appear. Nausea, dizziness, dry mouth, constipation. My body reacted poorly to the medications. I had to adjust the doses several times, test different combinations, until I found a balance that allowed me to function minimally, but the pain never completely disappeared. It was like a constant shadow, always present, reminding me of my condition. In addition to medications, I started physical therapy. The sessions were painful, but I knew I needed to strengthen my muscles and improve mobility. The physical therapist was attentive and encouraged me to push past my limits. Despite my efforts, fibromyalgia continued to play tricks on me. I had pain crises so intense that I needed to be hospitalized. The pain was excruciating, as if I was being tortured. Doctors tried to control the pain with morphine and other potent painkillers, but nothing seemed to work. The hospitalizations were traumatic. I felt isolated, vulnerable, dependent on others. The loneliness was even more painful than the physical pain. During one of these hospitalizations, I had to undergo emergency surgery to remove an abscess that had formed in one of my muscles. The surgery was successful, but the recovery was slow and painful. The changes in my body were difficult to accept. Fibromyalgia left me bloated, weak with cellulite. I lost my hair, my nails became weak and brittle. I felt ugly, deformed, unrecognizable. Extreme fatigue was another heavy burden. I felt exhausted all the time, even after sleeping for hours on end. Fatigue prevented me from doing the things I loved, from working, from taking care of my home. The limitations imposed by the disease frustrated me, angered me. I could no longer walk long distances, carry weight, do intense exercises. I had to learn to ration my energies, prioritize my activities, ask for help when needed. There were moments of pure discouragement, of feeling defeated, hopeless, lacking the will to live. The pain was relentless, the suffering unbearable. I even considered giving up, ending it all. But something inside me prevented me from taking that step. A mysterious force, a faint flame that resisted being extinguished. That force was the love of my family, the support of my friends, the dedication of my medical team. My parents were always by my side, giving me affection, comfort, and hope. My friends visited me in the hospital, called me every day, invited me to go out. The medical team was attentive and competent, always willing to listen to me, to help me, to give me the best possible treatment. The support I received was crucial to keep going. I felt loved, embraced, protected. I discovered that I was not alone in this struggle, that there were people who cared about me and believed in me. Faith also helped me a lot. I believed that God had a purpose for me, that He would not give me a burden greater than I could bear. Prayer brought me peace, comfort, and hope. I thanked God for each day, for each small victory, for each moment of relief. I learned to value the little things in life, to appreciate moments of joy, to be grateful for everything I have. Fibromyalgia taught me to be stronger, more resilient, more compassionate. I became a better person, more human, more sensitive. The pain transformed me, shaped me, made me reborn. Fibromyalgia does not define me, but it is part of my story. And this story, I choose to tell it with hope and faith. There is a great deal of confusion about what terminal illness and palliative care mean. It is important to understand that they are different things, although they may be related. Terminal illness refers to a health condition where the disease is progressing irreversibly and life expectancy is limited, usually in months. It is a delicate time, causing great suffering for the patient and their family. Palliative care, on the other hand, is an approach aimed at improving the quality of life for patients and their families facing issues related to serious illnesses, whether curable or not. Contrary to what many think, palliative care is not only for those in a terminal state. It can be started at any stage of the disease, from diagnosis and continued until the end of life. The main goal is to relieve pain and other physical symptoms, such as shortness of breath, nausea, and fatigue, as well as to offer emotional, social, and spiritual support. Receiving palliative care does not mean that the person is giving up or that there is nothing more to be done. On the contrary, it means that the medical team is focused on providing the maximum comfort and well-being possible, allowing the patient to live their days in the best way possible. Palliative care is centered on the patient and their individual needs, taking into account their values, beliefs, and wishes. The multidisciplinary team, usually composed of doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and occupational therapists, work together to provide comprehensive and personalized care. In my case, fibromyalgia is not a terminal illness, but it causes chronic suffering that profoundly impacts my quality of life. Therefore, palliative care has been essential in helping me cope with the symptoms and live as well as possible. In addition to medications and physiotherapy, I have sought alternative therapies to help me alleviate pain and stress. Meditation, for example, has helped me calm my mind, reduce anxiety, and connect with my inner self. Through regular meditation practice, I have learned to observe my thoughts and emotions without judgment, to accept pain as part of my reality, and to find moments of peace and tranquility amidst the chaos. Yoga has also been very beneficial. Through postures, breathing, and meditation, yoga helps me stretch my muscles, strengthen my body, relax my mind, and alleviate pain. Yoga classes tailored for people with fibromyalgia provide me with significant relief from symptoms and help me feel stronger and more flexible. Acupuncture is another alternative therapy that I have successfully used. By inserting thin needles into specific points of my body, acupuncture helps me balance the vital energy, relieve pain, and improve sleep. Acupuncture sessions provide me with deep relaxation and help me feel more connected to my body. It is important to emphasize that alternative therapies do not replace conventional medical treatment, but they can be a valuable complement to alleviate symptoms, improve quality of life, and promote well-being. It is essential to talk to your doctor before starting any alternative therapy to ensure that it is safe and suitable for you. The journey with fibromyalgia is challenging, but with palliative care and alternative therapies, I have learned to live with the pain, accept my limitations, and appreciate the small things in life. I have discovered that happiness is not in the absence of pain, but in the ability to find joy and meaning amid suffering. I believe that my experience can inspire others to seek help, not give up on life, and find their own way to deal with pain and suffering. And then, just when I felt I was finally learning to dance to the music of fibromyalgia, came the news: a relapse. As if life took all the paint with which I was coloring my world and threw a bucket of black over it. The feeling was that of having to start over from scratch, to go back to square one in a marathon I had been running for years. The frustration was immense. All the therapies, all the medications, all my willpower, it all seemed to have been in vain. The early signs were subtle, almost imperceptible. Even deeper fatigue, pains that did not respond to usual medications, a constant discomfort hovering over me like a gray cloud. Ignoring it was tempting, but experience had already taught me to listen to my body. I sought the doctor, had the tests done, and the confirmation hit me like a punch to the stomach. Metastasis. The fibromyalgia, which I thought was under control, had spread, affecting other organs. The ground disappeared beneath my feet. Fear, once a distant whisper, now screamed in my ears. Fear of pain, suffering, incapacity. But above all, the fear of death. Life's finiteness, which I had always known to be real, became tangible, present, inevitable. Questions assaulted me. How much time do I have left? What do I still want to do? What will I leave behind? Acceptance, I confess, has been a slow and painful process. Days of hope alternate with nights of despair, but gradually I am learning to embrace this new reality, to face death not as an end, but as a natural part of life. I seek psychological support to deal with intense emotions, to process the grief for the life I imagined, and to find strength to move forward. Spirituality has also been a safe harbor, a source of comfort and hope amidst the storm. And above all, I focus on living in the present, on seizing each moment, each smile, each hug, on valuing the little things, the simple moments, the beauty of the world around me. I dedicate myself to projects that bring me joy, to people who make me feel good, to causes that inspire me. I allow myself to feel sadness, anger, fear, but I do not let these feelings paralyze me. There are still difficult days when pain consumes me and anguish invades me. But in those moments, I take a deep breath, remember all that I have already achieved, and cling to the hope that there is still beauty and love to be lived. I believe that life is a precious gift, even when pain is present, and as long as there is life, there is hope. My story is far from over, and even with relapse, with metastasis, with the fear of death, I choose to live it intensely, with courage, faith, and love. Today, more than ever, I understand the importance of living in the present. Illness forced me to slow down, to pay attention to details, to value each moment as if it were the last. I learned that the future is uncertain, that the past does not return, and that the only moment that really matters is now. Therefore, I strive to be present in everything I do, to savor every experience, to connect with the people I love. I have rediscovered pleasure in simple things: a cup of hot tea on a cold day, the birds singing in the morning, the tight hug of a friend, the sincere smile of a stranger. These are small moments that fill my heart with joy and remind me that life is beautiful, even with all its difficulties. The activities that bring me happiness are varied and adapted to my physical limitations. I love reading, especially books that inspire me and transport me to other worlds. Reading allows me to travel without leaving home, learn new things, and connect with different cultures and perspectives. I also enjoy listening to music of all genres, from classical to rock. Music touches me, energizes me, and helps me express my feelings. Going for a walk in the park is another activity that makes me feel good. I love observing nature, feeling the sun on my face, breathing fresh air, and admiring the beauty of flowers and trees. Walking in nature calms me, invigorates me, and connects me with my essence. Talking to friends and family is essential for my emotional well-being. I love spending time with the people I love, sharing my joys and sorrows, receiving support and affection. Relationships are a precious gift and give me strength to face life's challenges. Illness has taught me to value relationships, express my feelings, and be grateful for life. I have learned that it is not worth holding grudges, suppressing emotions, or postponing dreams. Life is too short to waste time on things that do not matter. That is why I strive to be honest and sincere with the people around me, to show my love and gratitude, and to forgive those who have hurt me. I have also learned to prioritize what truly matters and set aside unnecessary worries. I used to care a lot about others' opinions, professional success, and physical appearance. Now I realize that these things are superficial and fleeting. What really matters is health, inner peace, love, and happiness. Therefore, I dedicate myself to taking care of my body and mind, cultivating gratitude, and practicing love. I have let go of worries about work, money, and image. I focus my energies on living in the present, enjoying every moment, and building a legacy of love and kindness. Illness has transformed me into a better person, more aware, more compassionate, and more grateful. I am grateful for the opportunity to live, to love, to learn, and to evolve. And even with the pain, suffering, and uncertainty, I choose to live life intensely, with courage, faith, and love. I believe that happiness lies within each of us, in the ability to find joy and meaning amid difficulties. With this conviction, I move forward, one day at a time, embracing life in all its fullness. My perspective on life and death has changed radically with illness. Before, I saw them as distant, abstract events that were not part of my daily life. Life was a relentless race for success, recognition, and pleasure. Death was a taboo, something to be avoided, ignored, denied. Today, I see them as two sides of the same coin, as inseparable parts of a natural and inevitable cycle. Life is a precious gift, a unique opportunity to love, learn, grow, and evolve. Death is a transition, a portal to another dimension, a moment of rest and peace. Illness has taught me that life is finite, that time is short, and that every moment is valuable. It has shown me that it is not worth wasting time on things that do not matter, on unnecessary worries, on resentments and grudges. It has encouraged me to prioritize what really matters: health, family, friends, love, faith, inner peace. It has made me appreciate the little things, the simple moments, the beauty of the world around me. The experience of illness has made me a stronger, more resilient, and compassionate person. Pain has taught me to be more tolerant, to have more empathy, and to understand the suffering of others. Difficulties have strengthened me, made me more persistent, and shown me that I am capable of overcoming any obstacle. Limitations have forced me to adapt, to seek new solutions, and to discover talents I never imagined I had. Illness has opened my eyes to the importance of taking care of health, both physically and mentally. I have learned that the body is a sacred temple that needs to be respected, cared for, and loved. I have discovered that the mind is a powerful instrument that can be used to heal, to inspire, and to transform. I have become more aware of my habits, more attentive to the signals of my body, and more responsible for my health. The legacy I want to leave is a legacy of love, hope, and inspiration. I want to be remembered as someone who loved intensely, who lived fully, and who never gave up on fighting for their dreams. I want to inspire others to take care of their health, to value life, and to find happiness amidst difficulties. I want to leave a better world for future generations, a world that is more just, more compassionate, and more humane. To those facing similar challenges, I say, don't give up. Life is a precious gift, even when pain is present. Seek help. Surround yourself with people who love you. Believe in your inner strength and never lose hope. Remember that you are not alone. There are thousands of people going through the same difficulties who can offer support, understanding, and care. Illness doesn't have to be a death sentence, but rather an opportunity for transformation. Use pain to learn, to grow, and to evolve. Discover what truly matters in life and dedicate your time and energy to that. Cultivate gratitude, practice love, and live each day as if it were your last. Believe in yourselves, trust your intuition, and follow your heart. You are stronger than you imagine, and you are capable of overcoming any obstacle. Life is a gift. Make the most of it. Love intensely, live fully, and be happy. And above all, never lose hope. Believe that the future can be better and fight for it with all your might. You are capable of achieving your dreams and building a better world for yourselves and for others. If there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it's the importance of listening to the body. It speaks, even screams when something is not right. Don't ignore the signs, the persistent pains, the unexplained fatigue. Don't get used to discomfort. Prevention is key. An annual checkup, routine exams, a careful look at yourself can make all the difference between a passing scare and a prolonged battle. Early diagnosis would give me other chances, perhaps an easier path. Don't make the same mistake. If illness comes, don't despair. Take a deep breath, seek medical and psychological help. Surround yourself with love, with people who support and strengthen you. Faith, whatever it may be, can be a safe haven in times of uncertainty. Believe in the strength that lies within you, in the ability to overcome that we all possess. Illness does not define you. It is just a part of your story, not the complete script. Live one day at a time. Celebrate the small victories. Don't be too hard on yourselves. Allow yourselves to feel all emotions without judgment. Sadness is part of it, but don't let it extinguish hope. Find joy in simple things, in moments of connection, with nature, with art, with love. Life is a gift, even with its difficulties. I am grateful for every moment, for every lesson learned, for every person who has crossed my path. I thank God, my family, my friends, my medical team. I thank you who listen to me and allow me to share my story. May my experience serve as inspiration for you to live intensely, with courage, with faith, and with love. Believe in the force of life, in the capacity for healing, and in the importance of valuing each moment. Life is a precious gift. Make the most of it.